Let me get this out of the way before I start this review. No, I have never seen The Shining, so I'm coming into this sequel at a bit of a disadvantage. But don't worry, this movie catches me up really quickly, and plus I've seen the Simpsons parody of The Shining many times, so I think I'm ready for this. Let's talk about this movie, which is the sequel to The Shining, directed by Mike Flanagan, none other than Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep stars Ewan McGregor as Danny from The Shining. He's grown up. Because of the tragic events that happen in that movie, he has grown up to be an alcoholic and really doesn't want to use his powers. Through contrivances in this movie, he happens to go into a little town and find a girl who also has shining powers. Along the way, they get chased by a group of hunters, Rose and her crew, and we have this movie, which is, like I said, a sequel to The Shining. This is a really enjoyable movie, I think. As someone who didn't see, like I said, The Shining, I got most of it very easy. You pretty much know everyone's motivation right from the beginning. As they do show you clips, they reenact scenes from the original Shining here. And I think they did a pretty good job of casting a young Danny who looked like the kid in the Kubrick movie, as well as his mom. There is another casting later that I didn't think was as good, but I don't think anyone could have filled those shoes. This was a really enjoyable movie for a lot of different reasons. One, Ewan McGregor is fantastic in it. I'm a huge fan of Ewan McGregor, and he fit the role of Danny, and you can see the weariness from the very beginning as he actually tries to drink away his shining power so he doesn't use it. He finally moves into this town and he cleans up and he gets a job, and you see him fighting really the whole movie his own demons, not only from what's happened when he was a little kid, but also what happened to him in the preceding years as he literally was drinking his life away, being very monogamous with women. And all the while it builds up, and there's this really touching scene in the end where he's having a conversation with another character, and the other character is explaining to him why he drinks alcohol and why he should drink alcohol. And in that scene, he kind of explains why he did it, and a very interesting motivation for it. That it was, once again, beautifully done by Ewan McGregor. I think he really took on the role of Danny. Rebecca Ferguson plays Rose the Hat, who is the leader of this crew of almost like vampires. And I really enjoyed her lovely, the way she looked, the way she carried herself, the way she even led her team, her crew of fellow, I don't think they ever gave him a name of it in the movie for the group, but you can tell their motivations were really a lot about survival, so you understood why they were doing what they were doing. There is a scene with Jake Tremblay, who's only in this for that one scene, and it might have been a little bit too much, I think, or it ran a little bit too long, and we'll get to that in a second. But you really see how they feed and how they stay alive. But to me, in all of this, the star of the movie was actually the little girl, Abra. Abra Stone, played by Kyliegh Curran. What she does is she plays a little girl who, I think it was just her 10th or 11th birthday, and she has the strongest shining power and that Rose the Hat's team has seen in a long time. And she has to act opposite of Ewan McGregor and Rebecca Ferguson, and she more than handles herself. There are scenes where she is absolutely super powered, but it's never done in a way that makes you go, oh my god, I hate this little chick and I hope she gets punched in the face. I also like the fact that they don't really hit you over the head with the fact that, one, she happens to be African American, two, she happens to be a girl. She's just another person like everyone else. She just happens to be really powerful. So there's a really good scene where Ewan McGregor is supposedly inhabiting her body, and she plays it off really well. It was perfect. Even the scenes where she has to face off against Rose the Hat she just like, she mans up, for lack of a better, woman's up, girls up, for whatever hell up. You know, when she has to stand up to Rebecca, Rose the Hat, she comes off like she has a presence about her that I absolutely adored in this movie. There are fights in the astral plane or wherever, the minefield, whatever you want, people's brains, that look absolutely wonderful. Mike Flanagan directed the hell out of this movie. It has the right amount of creepiness in it. The fights are inventive, especially when people are going inside each other's minds. There's a really brutal one that has to do with file cabinets. There goes a sentence I just said. So that was really fun. I will say this without spoiling it. The last 30-35 minutes, if you're a fan of The Shining, you're going to have a fucking hard-on during this segment of the movie. And it was absolutely just if you're a fan of The Shining, the last 30 minutes alone are going to floor you. Alright, as much as I'm gushing about this movie, there are a couple negatives. One, this movie is too fucking long. Clocking in at about 2 hours and 25 minutes. This movie takes its time. And it does help, especially with characters like Ewan McGregor, but the Danny character. But it feels like 4 different movies at the beginning. Because it's going from Danny's character, showing us a little bit of what happened in The Shining. Then it goes into Danny growing up. Then it goes into this character, I'm not going to say who it is, that and I'll get to that character in a second. And then it goes to Abra stuff. And then it's also going to Rebecca Ferguson, Rose the Hat stuff. So like the movie's jumping in 4 different pots for a while until it narrows it down more or less to Danny and Abra and Rose's crew. So it really takes its sweet time. There are certain scenes I think could have been cut out. One of them that should have been cut out was there's a character who has a story at the beginning of the movie. That character gets built up to become a background extra for the rest of the movie, completely wasting whatever the hell time we had with that person at the beginning. At first I was like with it for a little while at the beginning, but once that character settles in to what they're gonna do, they're literally like a background character. So that was kind of like a waste of not only building up a character, it was a waste of time for the audience. You could have made this movie at least 15-20 minutes shorter. So that was kind of but like other than that, this is a really fun movie. This is a really good movie. Very well acted, very well directed. I like the score. The fan service is gonna make people go crazy at the end. Kyliegh Curran really shine. Ewan McGregor has always stolen my heart. And Rebecca Ferguson as Rosa Hat was really good. Other than the time constraint, I thought, and the slow pacing for most of the movie, I really enjoyed it. The astro fighting stuff was funny. It was great. There was a couple of funny scenes in between. I really liked the progression of Danny's character. So I'm a big proponent of Dr. Sleep. I give it an 8.5. Did you see Dr. Sleep? Do you suggest I go back and watch The Shining? Let me know. Oh, one more thing. There is one character in the last 30 minutes that I'm really interested for people who... I don't think anyone could have been cast well in it, but what can you do? But at least that character had a really great scene with Ewan McGregor at the bar. That scene alone is worth it. So that's my thoughts on Dr. Sleep. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Until next time.